Hey, this is Eric from Mass Street Music, and I'm here to talk to you today about the Timmy pedal from Paul Cochrane Audio. This has been a very famous pedal over the last decade or more in the category of like a low gain overdrive is how most people use this guy. And I've been using it for several years in that very fashion. But basically, what we've got here is the red limited edition Timmy. Same as every other Timmy except for the super cool ruby red slipper finish. But basically, I'll go through this. This is my basic tone. It's just the Anderson S-style through a Fender Deluxe Reverb reissue. And I've got the Timmy in line, and I also have a Screddy Echo here just for fun, but my basic tone sounds like this. Basic guitar tone. And then if I add the Timmy in here in sort of its transparent low gain mode, you can see kind of what it's famous for. So I've got the volume kind of at unity, a little bit of gain, and then the EQ controls, which I'll talk about more here in a second, are set in basically the off position. So there's no EQ happening, just gain stage bump. And here's my basic tone, and here's with the low gain added. So it's fairly subtle. But you can see how it's pushing the front end of the amp a little bit more and making those pre-tones kind of come to life and having a little more presence in the tone. So, if we add a little bit more gain, we'll introduce some more gain and bring the master volume down a touch to kind of match it out. And we've got kind of a breakup. And this is where the EQ controls come in. So as you bring the gain up, and you're basically just enhancing the basic tone of your guitar in the amp because this pedal is so transparent, but as you bring the gain up and get a little more breakup going, you can follow that a touch with the bass and treble controls, which are set up as cut controls. So if they're in their full counterclockwise position, which looks to be about 7 o'clock, that's all the way to the left, then they're off. As you roll them clockwise, they're a cut control, so you're actually pulling bass away from your signal or pulling treble away from your signal. You cannot add bass or treble with these controls as they are cut controls. So as you add gain to your signal, sometimes it can create a woofiness in the bass that you might want to trim a little of that out, or it could create, it will create, as you get into higher gain, a harsher treble. So you can just trim that off, and they're very sensitive. So I generally never get past 9 o'clock on these controls, but I usually don't run it super high. So here we've got this edge of breakup, and I've pulled just a little bit of the bass off, and just a little bit, it's a little more than edge of breakup, but I'm pulling a little treble and a little bass off. And then also, you can bring it into a much higher gain than a lot of people generally use this pedal, but a pretty sizzling distortion. I'll roll a little more of the bass and treble off. The basic rule is, and kind of coming from Paul's knowledge, the creator here, is as you pull the gain up, you can kind of start to follow it with those cut controls, but to taste, because if you take away too much treble, then it starts to become a little bit like a wet blanket, or too thin with too much bass. So A little more gain here, still kind of keeping the volume the same by pulling the master volume out. And I'm going to add a little bit of the echo to this just for fun. Switching to the neck pickup and just a little more gain. So the Timmy is very versatile. You can use it as like a clean boost or front end of your amp exciter, moving into kind of Rolling Stones crunch territory, and almost like a color sound boost, and then all the way into almost what I would think of as a tube screamer territory, where you can get it pumping pretty hard gain and used with a tube amp. Super versatile. The Timmy from Paul Cochrane, it's one of our favorite pedals here at Mastery Music, and would be a fantastic addition to any serious guitar player's toolbox.